Okay, I found John. Hey, John.
Hi, how are you?
Good. Thanks for coming today.
Sure, no problem.
Hey, tell me a little bit about your home inspection here versus maybe old resales or but new construction, how important it is, and what you do for your clients.
Okay, sure. I'm Johnny Flamish from Insight Inspections. Typically, we do a three-phase inspection. We do the entire exterior of the home. We then come and do the major systems, the furnace, hot water heater, electrical panel, and then the rest of the home, the kitchen, bathrooms, doors, outlets, windows, etc. We mark things in three ways. It's acceptable, it works, we love it, great. The other side of the spectrum is defective, and I know why it's defective. Typically, it's something that's unsafe or doesn't work. Everything in between is marginal. Leaves in the gutters. They have caulking issues outside. They haven't caulked around a bathroom or a loose doorknob. In new construction, it's always important because county inspectors, whether it be industry specific, so electrical, plumbing, foundation versus other counties that are one stop fits all. We look for the same things, but we look for things in other detail. So outside in a new construction, I'm looking for caulking gaps. I'm looking for grading of the foundation so the water's not running out the home, away from the home. I'm looking at all the doors, operate, function, and lock outside. It's a safety issue. Same with the windows. We're opening every window, every door, checking every outlet, etc. We come in, we're working through the major systems, we're going through to make sure that everything operates just as a homeowner would operate the house. Because our most important concern is that the client gets the information they need. Second, they have to understand it. So the electrical panel, I'm not asking them to be an electrical contractor or engineer, but I want them to understand not only how the electrical panel works, what to do in an emergency, what to cut off, making sure that everything's labeled. Conversely, if I'm working with plumbing, I wanted to know that besides under the sinks, that there is a main water cutoff for the entire house in case there's ever an emergency. These are the typical things that are not going to happen in a county inspection. They're, again, checking their specific things. I will tell you that I did an inspection not too long ago. They told me that in Fairfax, they told me that the county guy, they have a one-stop individual who does everything, foundation, framing, electrical, etc. They had a gentleman who was there for 15 minutes. My inspection was 3.5 hours.
And that's such a good point. And you've brought up a few things because I know that in new construction, the buyers have a walkthrough prior to closing. It's usually the day of closing. So, things, they don't go thoroughly through all of this. And they always tell the buyers, oh, these are things that we can come back and fix later. But who wants to move into a new home and have to find out on their own and then ask the builder to come in, and this way we get it all up front, and we tell the builder these are the things we found, and most of the time they really will go back and fix everything prior.
Well, and that's a very, very good point. See, I'm a retired general contractor. I will tell you the one thing the builder, the contractor ever wants to do, they never want to go back. In their mind, they're done. So every trip they have to make back is more money out of their pocket, time, all that kind of thing. What it really focuses on for me is that when we do a final walkthrough on a new build, is that I'm pointing out all the issues now, so when that final walkthrough is done with the client, or they go through I call it the blue tape session, where they're putting blue tape everywhere where they see defects or marginal items. Ours is much more in depth. However, it's good that the builder has that, whether it be in a final walkthrough, a pre-drywall before the drywall goes up and they're framing, or even the 11th month inspection, because typically, and not all builders, but typically the builder wants to wait for that 11th, 12th month anniversary so they get out there and they do whatever they have to do. They really are done. They're looking at settlement. We've moved on.
Absolutely.
And so, unfortunately, what is the reality is that people were like, oh, well, we kind of pointed this out when we were doing the final walkthrough. Yeah, we'll get to it. And coincidentally, it's going to be 11 months before they come into it again, because that's what the warranty is. And we actually also do not only pre-drywall, final walkthrough, we actually do 11-month inspections. So you get ahead of the curve, or the client does. So they have all the things that maybe need a little tweaking. Usually a new home, you don't need that. Conversely, if you're looking at an older home or not a new build from 10, 15, 20, I do everything up to 150 or more years, it starts to get more complicated because people live there, the house has had wear and tear, kids, dogs, animals, whatever. There's just, or maybe multiple families living in a home, and it's amazing the good things that maybe in remodeling or storage and things that they've done that are great. There's also the other side, which we don't call remodeling, we call it remodeling. When they've done things that just have to be redone.
Yes.
Because they were never done well, or they were done with very poor materials. And now if it's a bathroom and laminate cabinets are falling apart and drains that are not done properly, things like that, it doesn't seem like a lot, but when you get in the house, the last thing you want to do is now start either tackling projects or forking over more money to do things when you should kind of have that information when you're making the initial offer.
Yeah, and I know I had suggested to my clients to do a radon test. However, this does have passive radon, so they couldn't really test. They could test now to know. That was their option, but the putting a radon system in that has passive is a minimal cost.
Once they have, the big cost is the piping, is actually boring the hole in the foundation, running the radon, sealing it, running the radon pipe, and it has to leave the house at some point, whether it goes all the way through all 3 levels through what's called a chase, a channel to go up, or it's going to exit the home right at the basement level and go up the outside because those radon gases have to discharge above the roof line.
Right.
So that's the cost. Once the what's called passive no fan is in, it's relatively minor to put one in.
Yeah. And you brought up another good point of looking at the exterior. I did have a client that decided not to do a home inspection because they felt it was a new construction and they didn't want to pay the extra money to have a home inspector. And once they moved in a year later, they found that they had a sinkhole and there were issues. And I think that it could have been found prior if they would have had a home inspection.
Again, the only thing I ever say in inspection that anybody takes away, unless water's in a pool or a pipe, it's not our friend. So we do everything to defend against it. Okay? So we're looking at the grading of the ground. We're looking at gutters, making sure the downspouts are discharging away, that they're not separated from the house so water falls in between the gutter and the house. We're making sure that nothing's discharging to the roof. We're actually looking at overhanging trees and branches to make sure things aren't dropping on the roof, and then we're actually looking at the roof of the cell itself to make sure it's not deteriorated, age and wear, and that's all before we get into the attic and start looking for water stains. We start looking for leaks, we start looking for other moisture penetration, or when we get up there, making sure the insulation's okay. But one thing we see a lot are bathrooms not venting outside. So people getting their home ready for market, and they put a new roof on the house, and the roofer forgets to connect those exhausts from a bathroom, and the last thing we want to do is put hot air into an attic space. That can only cause problems. And the other things that we see when we get up there, and I had this just the other week. I did a home inspection of an older woman who was selling a home. Her husband was deceased, and they had put a new heat pump in the attic, and they replaced it. That was great. What the HVAC contractor did not do, he did not remove the old unit to take it out, because they have to cut it up and disassemble it. No, they just pushed it off to the side, and it really was difficult because it was a very tight attic. It was really hard to inspect. But Lord have mercy, do you think a 74-year-old woman is going to go up on a ladder to look in her attic to see if they've done their job? So conversely, what that means for us is that we actually have to check on other people to see how they're doing their jobs.
Well, thank you so much. I certainly appreciate it. I'll let you get back to work because I know you have other inspections today. So,
no problem.
But that's great. And please, if you have any questions, feel free to give me a call. I will be happy to answer as much as I can, but I have great sources, and the source would be John Flamish with Insight. Thanks, John.
Bye-bye.
Have a great day. anyway, this is, as you can see, the finished family room, rec room space, which is wonderful, with a full bathroom and also a walk up, but it's only 4 steps up, so very easy. It's a gorgeous home so far. So let's go up and I will be happy to share with you the upstairs.